Now you're fancy like Applebee's on a date night, which is not fancy at all. Hey guys, Amanda the G here, back with the type of video that I haven't filmed in a long time, word vomit. I don't pay for streaming services, which is like a really long story that I don't want to get into, but even this far into the pandemic, I have not broken down from that, and one of the free services has been playing the Hunger Games trilogy like non-stop. Also, I'm aware that I called it a trilogy and it's 4 movies, but there's part 1 and part 2 of movies, so it's 3 in my brain anyway. If you follow me on Twitter, you will see that I have ranted quite a bit about this series and about the inconsistencies and the problems that I have with it, and also like just clearly Katniss is not the Mockingjay, except for the fact that you consider that a Mockingjay has no thoughts of their actual own and just parrots back what they are told. She's not a heroine. The true heroine of the story is Rue, but that is not the point that I am trying to make right now. I have another problem with these movies and these books. And that problem is that this country has gone through so many years of trauma. So many years. They had a near extinction event of a war that then they spent 75 years like just degrading all of the districts and putting tributes into an arena and killing them on live TV. And for 75 years that was the norm, and then they had another war where I think they killed probably at least half of the population again, and then they're supposed to just go back to normal. That's not how people work. The entirety of District 12 has been leveled. You see 2 people go back to that. There is no way that 2 people are going to clear thousands and thousands of dead bodies and all of this rubble and like rebuild an entire district. And then they get a third person to come to them who apparently somehow magically got past the whole fact that his entire brain has been completely scrambled to think that he should kill someone else, and now we're supposed to expect that he just went back to how he was beforehand? You fast forward like a couple years and they've got like babies and everything is happy and there's no more Hunger Games and oh, everything is wonderful now. That's not how that works. It would take years to get through that trauma. All of this kind of relates to what we're going through right now, is that we're all going through trauma of being in a global panorama. I am using that word because YouTube likes to censor things if you use the real one. We can't just go back. We can't just go back to 2019. We have all made coping strategies in our brain and we can't just like integrate them and get over them in like a week. I've been on TikTok a lot and I realize why so many people create content on there, and I do create content on there and I find it a lot easier because you don't have to do anything. Like you just play a video and it's like 1 minute, 15 seconds, whatever. I just got the 3-minute version, like I'm going to make a 3-minute video on TikTok. That's not happening. It's not like YouTube where you had to learn cameras and you had to learn sound and you had to learn lighting and you had to get all of these things and you had to be able to edit things on a computer, which not everybody does appropriately, and I'm not saying that I do that great because it's all self-taught. I've always kind of been a plant and garden lady, but now it's getting like to the extreme. So I planted seeds outside not even a week ago for bean sprouts, and last year the squirrels dug them all up and ate all of them. I didn't have any beans last year. So I just figured that would probably happen, but I would try and see. So I only planted 6 of them. And then it has been less than a week. They're 4 inches tall, and I had to go and put stakes out there and tie the stakes together with twine so that they can grow up the stakes, and then the squash that I planted, those have started going. I have a ton of tomatoes just going like crazy. I got some hot spicy peppers that are like this big because they took a little while to sprout and I grew them inside first and then I planted them outside. I've got blackberries that are ripping my arms to shreds whenever I go and pull them because I have a little teeny tiny bird's nest with little baby birds in it in my blackberry bush and I just don't want to disturb them. So I really need to cut that bush back, but I can't kill the babies. I just won't. I refuse to do it, so I'm just kind of suffering through until they are done with that nest and they leave that nest, and then at the end of the summer when I go to cut that bush back, it's gonna get cut way down because it's way too big, it's way too tall, and it starts falling over, and it just needs to be shorter and easier to access. The strawberries took over like a third of that garden, and it is a 60-foot long garden, so that's a significant amount of space, so I just cut a whole bunch of those back yesterday because I had hundreds and hundreds of strawberries this year. The lettuce is almost done, the beets are still growing this year. I'm actually going to be able to harvest them, unlike last year when my squash squash just kind of choked them out slowly to a slow and painful death. And I actually have carrots that it looks like I might actually be able to get before the squirrels again destroy the carrots. And then I have way too much time than I could ever do anything with. A whole bunch of oregano and way too many chives, but that's just outside. I bought myself a succulent last year for my birthday, and I bought myself a succulent again this year for my birthday. It's a jade this year because, you know, jades just, they don't need much from you. They just grow. They're fine. So I put those up. The one from last year has gotten really big. He's doing really well. Most of my plants inside are doing really well, and I am really excited because one of the plants that I bought years ago had blooms on it when I bought it and has not bloomed since. It has been happy, it has been healthy, it has been growing big beautiful leaves all the time, and I looked up yesterday and I saw this little red bud. It's gonna flower again. I finally got it to flower again. It only took like 3 or 4 years. I mentioned in my video last week that my phone has been acting stupid recently, and I actually just figured out why that is. I got a letter in the mail stating that my phone will no longer work come January because it does not connect to 5G services, and they did this to me when we switched from 4G to LTE, and I had to get a new phone because my 4G phone wasn't going to be compatible with LTE services, and they were just going to cut off all my data. Well, they're going to do that again. So I think that Sprint / AT&T, is that who it combined with? No, Verizon. Sprint / Verizon is, or is it T-Mobile? Sprint and whoever they combined with, because I'm kind of forgetting which one it is right now, I think that they are forcing something through that forces my phone to go into roaming instead of staying on the LTE services, despite the fact that it is right by a tower, in an attempt to get me to buy a phone sooner. That's it for today. Stay fresh, cheese bags. Oh wait, one last thing before I go. This global panorama is not over, so y'all, please just keep your goddamn cloth over your nose and mouth. Especially if you're not vaxxed, okay? But keep your cloth over your nose and mouth because we got variants and a bunch of shit, and it's not over, and everybody just wants it to be over, and it's really irresponsible.